Hello everybody, this is HiMrSmiles, and today we've got some epic Ashes of Creation hype for you. Let's watch. The video is called Ashes of Creation Starting the Year with Hype, and it is by Narc on YouTube. Yes!
We've been grinding these boars for days for their asses, and we're only 2 out of 8.
Oh, man.
Listen, boss, I'm really low on mana, so...
Narc does the best intros, I swear. Just, he has so much charisma, so much energy. He likes to do actual, like, ingenuitive videos where he's... I mean, there's real content with this guy. You actually get a laugh. It's awesome.
Maybe we should just go back to the inn and call it a day. God damn it! Who designs boars not to drop their asses? It's right there, for Christ's sake. If I could just slice it off.
Again. This is the 3rd time I've caught you and your little bum buddy trying to bypass the checkmates of our geniusly designed quests.
Genius? You having a Barney, ain't ya? What kind of boars don't drop their asses on death? You guys are even worse than the Pantheon devs. My...
Come on, guys. You can do better than Pantheon.
You want compelling gameplay, do you? Very well. Try testing the power of our latest ranged boss, Gamora the Ravager. And remember, if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Oh no! Gamora the Ravager! Incredible. He's a hero.
You fools for nothing. Been grinding for 3 months straight, and this is all you can muster?
Come on, Narc, you're better than this.
You underestimate me, Game Master.
The jacket is off. Ooh, it's a weighted jacket. He's stronger than we believed. His power level might even be over 9,000.
You may have been monitoring my stats, but right under your noses, I've acquired a power that you didn't anticipate.
What is this?
I see you're in a bit of a pickle, newbies. I'm sure you won't mind if I interject momentarily.
What? Garrett, Pirate Lord. Okay.
Hey, what up, boys? Yes, I look like shit, I know. I've not shaved my head, I've not slept, and I've not showered for a whole week, but...
A truer gamer I have never seen, Narc. Don't worry, you're just being true to yourself and the gamer stereotype.
none of that matters, because the wait is finally over, and I can hardly believe it. I no longer need to pull content straight out of my arse, because the first of our 2023 live streams is upon us. Surely this live stream will live up to my unrealistic expectations, and I'll easily get a full month's worth of topics from it.
Hey, and I'll get a full month's worth of content via you, Narc. So it's a win-win. It's a trickle-down, amazing... Well, that sounds like a pyramid scheme. Okay, never mind.
I managed to do it with the Gathering one, so don't underestimate my autism, sir. Luckily, we're starting the year with a bang, off the back of a couple of teasers they gave us throughout the various social media platforms that I don't participate in. The Twitter, the Discord, and of course, last month's live stream. And we will summarize them all for you today, but
brilliant.
Before we get into that, our patrons and I would love for you to grab yourself a... Go bug, Cola, because the tank archetype is finally being revealed to us. To what extent, we simply don't know, because Intrepid love setting us up for disappointment. Or maybe that's me doing that, but...
Nah, Narc, you could never disappoint us. You'll never let us down. You'll entertain us all the way. Until the end of YouTube or the end of time, whichever comes first.
Today's goal is to hopefully set some realistic expectations going into it, so we can look back at this video in the future and laugh about how much copium I was huffing now.
20 years in the future. Let's watch that Narc video from way back when. How much copium was he huffing is the question. A copious amount.
With all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
That was amazing.
So I'll start us off with the clip, of course, to set some context for our video. A very subtle and not at all deliberately scripted leak during their combat discussion. Stephen clearly attended some high-quality acting classes for this beautiful performance.
You know, it's something that's interesting to me is I think next month we're showcasing the tank archetype, and we're going to be showing some of those abilities. And within the next oh, I might have actually just leaked that. I'm so sorry.
Wow. Yeah. Grade A acting ability there. Yes, so we're actually going to be telling you all about the tank archetype. Oh, was I supposed to say that? Wow.
Okay, so a little leak in today's video, but
there's actually another clip I want to show today revealing a possible super hype showcase coming in the following months, but we'll save that for the end. The tank is a massive reveal for this.
Watch to the end. I see what you did there, Narc. Keep that watch time up on your videos. Very good.
Highly anticipated MMO, and throughout today's video, the majority of the footage in the background will be my archived tank footage from Alpha 1. Similar.
I guess I'll say the same to my own viewers. Make sure to watch to the end to see what Narc reveals for us.
To the previous combat reveal videos, this is likely going to be my last opportunity to use this footage unless I can ham-fist in some clips for context at a later date, and I love this old footage, mainly because it makes me feel like I'm not a channel that makes content for a game that quite literally doesn't exist. Yes, I haven't used that line for ages, and it feels good.
You know what? We all make content on things neither here nor there. It's fine, Narc. It's fine.
To be back. Stephen and the team have given us a lot of interesting information about the direction of the tank, and back in August, I think it was, we did our own little community discussion about tanks.
That sword was straight up stuck in that guy's head. What a nice animation.
To parallel the official Intrepid one. People's opinions about tanks are very passionate and diverse, and either one most certainly believe the tank archetype is probably one of the most important roles in any MMO.
Agreed, yes. It's either the healer or the tank, and I think I've played MMOs where there isn't necessarily even a healer type. There's just kind of like maybe supporty abilities that anyone can use. But yeah, definitely the tank is the most important. Running in head first, just barreling towards the enemy, pulling that aggro, keeping the eyes off of the DPS so they can do their damage.
The tank is lackluster, boring, and shallow. All the other classes will end up following suit. After all, the tank is the leader of the group, and that brings us on to the extent of what they could be showing us. Firstly, I already know we're going to get some controversy this month because Ashes of Creation is featuring an active block mechanic, something I personally think has no place in an MMORPG that features.
They're including a feature that has no place in an MMO? What are they doing? Well, hopefully it pays off. Hopefully it works out well.
A paper doll stat sheet. For you kids in the audience, a paper doll is the little UI element known as your character panel and shows all your stats, what they do, and how much they affect your performance by. It is these stats that damage is calculated through, and an active block completely contradicts the point of a paper doll calculation, and
Ah, I see. So yes, there's a conflict here, right? So with action combat, you don't normally have that kind of system, the paper doll system like he's talking about. So with this hybrid system, you're kind of getting both. You get that the shield block ability that kind of conflicts with the paper doll, but it's as intended because they're doing this hybrid setup.
is instead very indicative of action-based combat where you're expected to dodge, weave, and at least mitigate as much of the incoming damage as possible, because if you don't, you're simply not playing well. You've got to think of the boomers. You can't expect them to be zipping around doing backflips and shit. After all, they've got 6 jobs, 5 wives, and 46 kids. You need to slow...
The 5 wives and the 46 kids, man, it'll get you every time. Just keeps you too busy.
Down for these players. But I do agree that this is where MMORPG combat thrives. Tab targeting is a success for this very reason, and action combat has always fallen flat on its face throughout history. But Ashes of Creation isn't action-based, nor is it tab. It is a unique blend of both. Basically,
that could be a really good thing too. You know, I mean, if you're trying to be unique, if you're trying to be creative and ingenuitive, right? And all the other successful MMOs use tab targeting, and the ones that have failed used action targeting exclusively. Maybe a hybrid of both will be even more successful? We don't know, but it's worth trying out.
Copying Guild Wars 2's combat mechanics that is very tab target in origin, but has a lot of action-based combat elements that loosen up the rigid limits tab targeting offered back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
This has been dubbed hybrid combat and is also featured in Elder Scrolls Online. However, Guild Wars 2 doesn't feature an active block mechanic, whereas Elder Scrolls Online does. Now, I'm not going to go out of my way to highlight that ESO holds the crown for by far the worst combat in MMORPG history, but I suspect their core combat mechanics involving the active blocking does have something to do with it. So, in my opinion, doing the exact opposite of ESO is probably the correct thing to do, and that means active blocking sucks. But what about limitations and resource management? Surely if they handled that correctly in a way that complements the archetype, active blocking will feel good, right? Well, I agree, but probably not in the way you expect. So let's discuss this next.
Okay. Resource
During the
management.
November livestream, there were various clips where Stephen was showing off their active blocking on the cleric. He did mention resource management controlling the flow of combat, but as it stood during November, only mana was present as a resource. Additionally, mana was present on all 3 of the archetypes shown. The cleric...
Why would mana be what's used? If that's what he's talking about. If he's talking about mana being the stat that your blocking pulls from, that sounds so strange to me, because I always think of mana as either, you know, like magical abilities or skills, something like that. Something that you cast or like produce as an effect on the enemy. Why would like blocking is just a physical thing. Like I would think that would be more like stamina or something. I don't know. Maybe it's too complex to add another stat bar. I don't think it would be. I don't know. We'll see where this goes.
The ranger and the fighter, implying that, at least during this early stage of development, mana is the spending resource available to all archetypes.
I do not like
they use their abilities. I suspect this because it is also the case in Arcade, one of Ashes of Creation's main inspirations.
Okay.
However, this is a topic we can discuss when we learn more about the tank archetype on Friday, because Stephen...
I guess it's simpler if you only have one bar that you're worrying about for whether it's magic or physical abilities, but I don't know, it just seems weird.
Hinted at a stamina bar being introduced for micromanaging blocking mechanics.
Okay, stamina. See, that's what I'm saying. If they introduced a stamina bar, that would make a little bit more sense, at least for me and compared to other games and MMOs.
Stamina could also be used to manage the sprinting mechanics and the dodging mechanics that they've teased in the past.
Yeah.
But as mentioned before, in my opinion, this is just shallow, uninspired gameplay. When you use a global resource like stamina and mana, like ESO or New World or Black Desert Online does, it makes all the classes feel the same, and you end up limiting your build diversity to favor one or the other to exploit the power of said resource. I'd much rather see blocking act as a parry style ability that has limited uses and, if not timed correctly, mitigates very small amounts of damage.
Yeah, I like the idea of a block fail getting you into more trouble, actually. Like maybe you're thrown off guard, and so it acts like a stun for like a second or something like that, where you would take, you would be more vulnerable to getting damaged or hurt or whatever. I like mechanics like that. You shouldn't just be able to hold your shield indefinitely. I don't know. It just feels weird to me.
This rewards playing well and avoids that situation action-based tanks find themselves in where they're just holding down block for the whole fight. A tank should have active gameplay, and a parry mechanic to avoid a tank buster or something like that is far more exciting than simply being forced to min-max your stamina by holding block the whole fight.
Yes, indeed, Narc. You're hitting on the points that I'm exactly riding on. We're synced up right now, Narc. No, yeah, this is exactly what I was just saying. Like, I really think that the gameplay would suffer if you can just hold down block, and especially playing as a tank, it just wouldn't be very engaging. It would be kind of boring. So it would almost discourage people from being tanks, which would then kind of ruin the balance of your game.
I very much enjoyed World of Warcraft's warrior tank mechanics, so I'm obviously biased. But I don't think anyone disagrees that tanking back in the early days of WoW was exciting, at least during the raids with a lot of ad management and the heroic dungeons. But we're dipping our toes into speculation territory now, so I think it's better if we just wait a couple more days. Hopefully this showcase is more of an in-depth look at how the archetype functions, going over the details of how skills work, how to slot them, the core mechanics of the tank itself, and how to customize it using various weapons and their respective skill trees. We're well overdue an actual in-depth look at the direction they're taking the customization, progression, and itemization.
Just looking at these abilities and animations from, I think he said this was like alpha footage or something, it looks interesting. I mean, it's definitely intriguing, but I really hope it's not just a constant hold right click to shield mechanic. That would really suck, I think.
And the tank, being the very core of MMO's group gameplay, would be a perfect time to showcase this.
You're not gonna scare us. Scared you?
Excuse me, YouTube ads. Hyper or not?
So I did mention briefly about another clip that they teased for us, and I find it rather weird that we're getting the tank be showcased outside of this specific tease here.
Within the next couple months, or I think it's the next 2 to 3 months, we're also going to be talking a little bit about and showcasing one of the big raid bosses, the Cyclops. Ooh. And I know that has a lot of visual effects that's going into that encounter.
This looks so sick. See, seeing stuff like this that actually looks cool and different. Like, there's been Cyclopses in games before. The concept of a Cyclops, like, boss or enemy is not wholly unique across the gaming genre, but man, this looks unique and cool and fun to fight.
As well as some
exciting
mechanics that are associated with supporting some of that ability that the actual Cyclops has available, and I think people are going to be a little bit shocked by that.
A world boss would be the perfect time to showcase the tank archetype, so this is what prompts me to think that we will be getting our first in-depth look at how archetypes actually function. The melee combat reveal in June last year, featuring the fighter, was labeled as basic melee weapon attacks, and the showcase did very much feature that specifically without too much focus on the fighter itself outside of those two abilities shown. Additionally, the follow-up range combat reveal was labeled as the basic ranged weapon attacks, and did very much focus on how the ranged mechanics work with the bows. The ranger itself just so happened to be the byproduct of this showcase, as it only featured 3 of their abilities rather than a whole roster of them.
Yeah, and again, remembering back to the ranger or ranged kind of class video, it was kind of underwhelming only seeing 3 abilities. And I remember talking about that too. Like, normally with MMOs you've got like a whole row, like you're using basically 1 through 9 on your number pad if you have one, or your number keys on your keyboard. So hopefully it will be a little more kind of like fledged out than that, but yeah, we'll see.
Finally, the November livestream was very controversial, featuring the cleric and 3 of its abilities, but the actual stream itself was labeled as the day and night cycle. The emphasis was never supposed to be on the cleric. It just so happened to be the archetype that they were featuring to highlight 3 players using their combo debuff system. So it makes...
That's strange. That's strange that they wouldn't even have like a, I don't know, like a main focus on a new archetype being revealed. It's just kind of slipped in there like, oh, we're going to be talking about the day and night cycle today. And oh yeah, oh, and there's a cleric.
Makes me wonder if this live stream is specifically showing off the tank. Will we finally get a full reveal of how a base archetype works compared to those other 3, which were very much focused on non-class and archetype related reveals? It does get me excited, and hopefully I won't be eating my words and overdosing on the copium to convince everyone that the basic blocking showcase just so happens to feature the tank with 3 of its bastard abilities.
Hey, we're all sucking up the copium here, okay? All of us Ashes of Creation wanters and believers, so don't worry about it, Narc. We're with you, man.
But as usual, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO, and my opinion means nothing without yours.
Same.
In the comments below. And as always, I want to thank my patrons. You guys are the...
You know what? That was a really good video. Even though there wasn't much revealed there in terms of the actual tank archetype, you know, just giving us the tease, just the breadcrumbs are laying, and we're eating them up. We're on the trail. We're trying to find the witch's house, and we're ready to dive into her oven. Maybe that's not the right metaphor to go for there, but hey, I'll take it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed. Check out Narc's channel. He's a great YouTuber, great content creator, and I'll see ya in the next video.